I never thought I'd be standing at the starting line of a marathon at 52, my knees aching before I even took a step. But there I was, wondering if the body I'd relied on for decades was finally giving up on me. Pain had become my shadow, and every stride felt like a negotiation with time itself. For years, I told myself it was just age. Everyone slows down eventually, right? But deep down, I knew something was different. The recovery that used to take a day now stretched into weeks. My muscles felt hollow, like they'd forgotten how to rebuild themselves. I wasn't just tired, I was disappearing. It started after my 48th birthday. A casual 5-mile run turned into a month of limping. Physical therapy helped, but never fully. I'd wake up feeling older than I went to bed. Friends told me to switch to swimming, to accept the inevitable. But running wasn't just exercise for me, it was identity. It was freedom. Giving it up felt like giving up on myself. Then I stumbled across something that changed everything. Not a miracle cure or some trendy biohack, but a compound that's been studied for over a century. Creatine, monohydrate. Most people think it's just for bodybuilders or young athletes chasing gains. But the research told a different story, one that spoke directly to what I was experiencing. Creatine is one of the most researched supplements in sports science, with over 1,000 peer-reviewed studies backing its effectiveness. What fascinated me wasn't just the muscle benefits, but how it functions at a cellular level. It helps regenerate ATP, the energy currency of every cell in your body. For aging athletes, this isn't about vanity, it's about survival. Our muscles naturally lose creatine stores as we age. Production slows down. Absorption decreases. The result is longer recovery times, reduced power output, and yes, that persistent ache that makes you wonder if you're done. But here's what the research showed. Supplementing with creatine could restore those depleted reserves, especially in people over 50. I was skeptical. I'd tried everything from collagen peptides to turmeric shots. Nothing moved the needle. But the science on creatine was different. It wasn't based on testimonials or influencer hype. It was rooted in decades of clinical evidence, including studies specifically on older adults and endurance athletes. So I decided to give it 3 months. No expectations. Just observation. The first 2 weeks, nothing. I almost quit. Then, around day 18, something shifted. Not dramatic, but undeniable. My legs felt less heavy on morning runs. The soreness that usually lingered for days started fading overnight. I wasn't imagining it. My body was responding. By week 6, I was running intervals again. Not the sluggish, compromised versions I'd been forcing myself through, but real speed work. My splits improved. My stride felt elastic again, like the ground was giving me something back. Friends started asking what I'd changed. I didn't want to sound like an infomercial, so I just said I'd figured some things out. But the transformation went beyond performance metrics. It was psychological. For the first time in years, I felt like my body was working with me instead of against me. That chronic background pain that had become my normal, it started to fade. Not completely, but enough that I stopped planning my day around it. The science explains why this happens. Creatine doesn't just help muscles contract with more force. It also reduces inflammation and oxidative stress, two major factors in exercise-induced pain and delayed recovery. For aging athletes, this anti-inflammatory effect can be as valuable as the performance boost. It's not masking pain, it's addressing the underlying cellular stress that causes it. What surprised me most wasn't just the physical change, it was the mental shift. When you're in constant pain, you start to think smaller. You limit yourself preemptively. You stop dreaming about what's possible and start managing decline. But once my body started responding again, my mindset followed. I wasn't just running, I was planning, setting goals, believing again. By month 3, I signed up for that marathon I'd been avoiding. Not because I was pain-free or suddenly 20 years younger, but because I trusted my body again. That trust had been broken for so long, and creatine helped me rebuild it. Not through magic, but through consistent, measurable improvement. Race day came, 52 years old, standing at the starting line with people half my age. My knees didn't ache, my legs felt ready, and when the gun went off, I ran like I'd remembered how to fly. I didn't win, but I finished strong, with a time that would have been respectable in my 30s. More importantly, I finished without that familiar dread of what the next week of recovery would look like. What surprised me the most wasn't just how creatine monohydrate improved my experience with training and recovery, but how everything started to feel different once I switched to the right one. I didn't expect such a clear change, and honestly, I tested more than a few before finding what actually worked. This isn't a promo or sponsorship, just sharing real results that made a noticeable difference for me. I'll leave the link below, in case you want to dig into it yourself and see what I mean. The lesson here goes beyond supplementation. It's about refusing to accept decline as inevitable. Yes, aging is real. Yes, our bodies change, but we have more control than we think. Sometimes the difference between giving up and breaking through is just finding the right tool at the right time. For me, that tool was creatine. For you, it might be something else. But the principle remains. Keep searching, keep testing, keep believing. I'm still running, still setting goals, still proving to myself that 52 isn't an ending, it's a devolution. My body isn't what it was at 25, but it's something better, something earned through persistence and intelligent adaptation. And that pain that once defined my days, it's just a memory now, a reminder of where I was and how far I've come. If you're watching this and you've been struggling with the same questions I had, wondering if your best days are behind you, I want you to know something. They're not. The body is more resilient than we give it credit for. Science keeps revealing new pathways to optimization, new ways to support the systems that support us. Stay curious, stay open, and never let pain convince you that you're finished. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.